man, there's got to be a better way to trim back these tree branches. I've got 1.5 miles of this fence line, and this is going to take forever. I'm going to do a modification to my Stihl weed whacker today. I bought this farm about 9 months ago, and the previous owners had some health issues and weren't able to maintain it. So it went about 3 years without any sort of maintenance along the fence line. So I have a couple of options. And I've already tried to use some traditional clippers to start clearing brush. That takes forever. I just don't have time for that. And this cord that's on this trimmer is no match for the kind of brush I've got to clear. I've got some pretty thick brush. I need to be able to clear a brush that's a good 1.5 inches, 2 inches in thickness. And this is an FS90 Stihl 4-cycle weed whacker. And so I decided to try out a blade. I purchased a Renegade blade off of Amazon, a little $10 blade. It's a 9-inch blade, so I'm gonna give that a chance. I had saw some really good reviews. I've tried other types of blades on trimmers, and they just didn't do very good. I have a lot of confidence though this 36 tooth blade is going to really do some good. It's got a carbide tip, and anyway, I'm going to show you how to install this blade. And it's very important you get the right direction, and the way this is used, it's very important that you use it appropriately, or you can really get hurt. Removing the head on one of these Stihl trimmers is very easy. You need a nail or some sort of a thin piece of metal. Insert it down in this hole and spin the head around until you feel it slide into the hole. And then all you're going to do is twist this thing the opposite direction. These are left-handed threaded. This is a left-hand threaded trimmer head, so you just spin it until it comes off. So again, very easy to remove the head. In order to use this blade, you'll need to purchase an adapter plate. These adapter plates, you can acquire them off of Amazon or at any sort of farm and home type store. So to install this blade, one thing that's very important is you need to know which direction the head spins. You don't want to install this blade backwards. Just like a circular saw, if you put the blade on backwards, it's going to be a bad experience for you. So make sure you get this in the right direction. In this case, this one spins counterclockwise, and so what you want is for the blade to spin into the object you're trying to cut. So it's going to spin this way. This is the correct direction for this blade to turn. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and install this. To install it, it's pretty straightforward. You can see that it actually will settle down into sort of a slot. This came with an extra washer. I don't need that washer for this trimmer head. This one's going to fit just fine. And then of course I'm going to install the washer. Make sure it's in the right position. And finally I'm going to go ahead and install the nut. Again, this is left threaded, so you'll spin it the opposite direction you would normally spin a nut to tighten it. And even though you can probably get it with hand tightening it, since this is a blade, I want to put a little bit of torque on this. Not a whole lot, but definitely more than hand tight, just to make sure this blade doesn't spin loose. Okay, that's good and tight. So again, this is going to spin this direction, counterclockwise. Your trimmer may be different. It may spin clockwise. Just make sure you get the rotation correct so you don't run into any sort of problems when you're out giving it a test. Before I get this trimmer going with the blade on it, I want to make sure I put on some good protective equipment. So I've got some steel-toed boots. I also have this helmet here. This will keep some brush from flying back in my face. So always recommend some protective equipment anytime you're going to use power equipment. you can tell how big this is. This is well over, this is about a 2-inch branch. You can just cut through this like butter. I couldn't even cut this with the loppers, with those trimmers. So this blade is amazingly sharp. It's dangerous too. So if you're going to do this, make sure you're getting the proper protective equipment. But I highly recommend this. This thing makes very quick work. For every 10 minutes I spend with this, it would take me at least an hour to do this manually. So this is going to really speed up the process of clearing this fence line. I'm going to see how this blade does against this 3-inch locust tree. This property is just filled with these little locust trees. They're hard to even get close to because they have a lot of thorns, and these thorns are sharp and they tend to pierce even leather gloves. So I think this is the way to go. I'm going to try to use this for smaller trees. 3 inches is definitely larger than I would prefer to use it on, but I just want to see how it will do against a 9-inch blade, so it has plenty of depth to cut through this tree. I'm going to take it nice and slow, but just want to see how it does. This is about a 3.5 inch base. You can just see I cut right through that in under 10 seconds. I mean, this blade is sharp and it gets after it. So this is a good sized tree I just cut down. I can't imagine this blade encountering anything that's wood that it won't take down pretty fast. It really does a great job, so I highly recommend it.